Dr. Anneliese Singh's brilliant Queer and Transgender Resilience Workbook serves as our core qualitative blueprint today. And what's absolutely vital about this text is how it shifts our focus. It moves us away from just barely surviving minority stress, that incremental heavy weight of daily discrimination, and pushes us toward actively building tactical psychological resilience. We're moving from basic survival straight into a profound active sense of self-worth and empowerment.
When we look at the queer and trans resilience wheel, it places defining your LGBTQ self right at the absolute center. And there's a good reason for that. The author argues that without that foundational self-definition, the other spokes of the wheel, things like affirming your body or building community, they simply can't turn effectively. Your resilience multipliers literally start right at the hub. It's the core of the biopsychosocial spiritual model we've been discussing.
There's this fantastic piece of ancestral wisdom from Harvey Fierstein that beautifully captures this. He says, never allow yourself to be made a victim. Accept no one's definition of your life, but define yourself. Defining yourself is a supreme act of self-worth against societal conformity. In our archetypal exploration, this is literally the hero stepping up, claiming their true name before venturing out into the wider world.
Moving right along to Section 2, the intersectionality matrix. Here, we're navigating the multicultural mosaic of power.
When we map out how race, class, and ability intersect with our LGBTQ2S+ identities, we start to see these really unique matrices of privilege and oppression. Just think about how society categorizes these statuses. As queer and trans people, we might hold privilege as an able-bodied person or a white person, but we might simultaneously experience systemic barriers as people of color or folks from working-class backgrounds. Grasping this overlap is just an absolutely essential part of the qualitative research we do for peer support.
And here's where it gets really exciting for our project. By treating this matrix as a tactile tool, something we can literally map out on our Neo-Artifact cardboard computers, we can decode our own unique blueprints of collective community resilience and vulnerability. The text points out something crucial. We can use our unearned privileges to help others, and we can recognize that multiple oppressions can actually translate into multiple sources of deep, intersectional resilience that we can draw from.
I absolutely love how the incredible Stacey Ann Chen poetically puts it. She says, I want to go down in history in a chapter marked miscellaneous, because the writers could find no other way to categorize me. Our overlapping identities erase those rigid straight lines. Being impossible to easily categorize, that actually makes our intersectional existence a source of profound strength. It's exactly this kind of miscellaneous complexity that fuels the most powerful de-colonial storytelling.
All right, Section 3, De-Colonizing the Mind. This is all about battling those inner ghosts and making major mindset shifts.
So let's talk about internalized heterosexism and transnegativity. These are toxic societal scripts and colonized beliefs that we've unintentionally absorbed into our own internal systems. I want you to think of your mind like a cup. If your cup is filled right to the brim with these colonized scripts, there is absolutely no room left for narrative sovereignty or self-love.
So what do? We have to intentionally enact a personal re-education. This means actively pouring out those colonized myths, like the completely false idea that LGBTQ people somehow choose a hard life or are a burden, and replacing them with the reclaimed truth. And the truth is that we have ancient, incredibly beautiful histories. We do this by systematically auditing the messages we receive from the world to evaluate our core beliefs. Dr. Diane Aronsaft actually calls these internalized norms our gender ghosts, those rigid inner voices whispering societal expectations. By doing a qualitative audit of our beliefs, we can formally evict those ghosts and instead invite in our gender angels. Those are the affirming truths about our multidimensional selves.
Finally, Section 4, Tactile Tools for Boundaries. This is where we learn how to defend your sovereign self.
The workbook gives us a highly actionable 3-step strategy for navigating microaggressions in real time. It's simple. Name, validate, act. First, you name the microaggression exactly for what it is. Second, you validate your own feelings about that indignity. And third, you act intentionally. This framework is a real game changer because it interrupts your automatic trauma response and instantly puts you back in the driver's seat of your own narrative.
Now that final act step, it's incredibly versatile. It could be an internal affirmation of self-worth, like intentionally pausing to think, I am valuable and I deserve respect. Or it can be an outward behavioral action, like directly speaking up to an aggressor, or intentionally seeking out a safe space or community. The point is, you get to decide. It puts the power squarely back in your hands.
Another essential tactile tool introduced in the text is the elevator speech. This is a short, boundary-setting narrative device that quickly explains who you truly are, and it's designed specifically to set clear expectations for respect. It totally empowers you to dictate your own narrative quickly and effectively, completely on your own terms. Honestly, it is the perfect verbal equivalent to the physical interfaces we are currently building in our cohort.
Audre Lorde hits the nail on the head when she says, "I remember how being young and black and gay and lonely felt, feeling I had the truth and the light and the key, but a lot of it was purely hell." This perfectly captures that while claiming our multidimensional truth as a divine light, having actionable boundary tools is what actually gets us through the hell of systemic barriers. We absolutely need the truth, but we also need the tools to protect it.
So, to conclude our explainer today, I want to leave you with this provocation. How will you embed these tactile tools of spiritual technology into your own collaborative projects to empower radical self-worth? How will you, my fellow Yale LETS lead cohort members, take this blueprint of resilience and use it to foster unshakable narrative sovereignty in our communities? Let's take these tools and build something truly transformative together.